Hello everyone, I'm Aneesh, the founder of DevVoid, and today we'll be looking into the next problem in DSA AI series. So this is the fifth episode of DSA AI series, and well, let's see the problems that we already solved. First of all, we've solved contains duplicate in episode 3, and in episode 4 we have solved valid anagram. Today we'll be taking a look at twosome. Okay, I've already opened the problem, so let's just take a quick look at it. Okay, so here we go. Twosome. Given an array of integers, nums, and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to the target. Okay? Return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to the target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. You can return the answer in any order. Okay, let's break down the words and understand what's happening in the code editor itself right here. So if I show you quickly here, okay, given 2, 7, 11 and 15 and target as 9. Okay, let's just let's just go to the drawing board. That's better, I think. So we'll just take 2, 7, 11, 15 and I'm just going to start writing here. Just one sec. Okay, so 2, 7, 11, 15 and target is 9. Okay, well, we obviously know that 2 plus 7 is equal to 9, right? So the result has to be the index of 2 and the index of 7. In arrays or list, how is it? 0, 1, 2, 3. So what they want? 2 stands for 0, 7, 1. So the answer should be 0, 1. Okay, why is it 0, 1? Because 2 plus 7 is 9, the required target value. And the index of 2 is 0 and the index of 7 is 1. That is how you access in an array. If you don't understand that or if you don't remember that, take a look at the previous videos and get stronger in that, or ask ChatGPT and understand what these words I'm using are. Each of them works, but definitely understand what I'm saying here to actually understand the logic of it, what's happening. But this is the problem. What are they saying? One more. You cannot use the same element twice. What does that mean? Let's take another example and say, okay, let's take the same example and try to get the target as 14. Okay. 7 plus 7 is 14, right? But they are saying this is not allowed. Why? Because there's only one 7 over here, right? Since there's only one 7, we cannot use 7 twice. So we cannot repeat numbers. Okay? Unless they're repeated, of course. So if my array had 2, 7, 7, 11, 15, yes, then it's accepted. I can take 7, 7. No worries. But if there's only one 7, I can have only one 7 here as well. Okay? Okay. Next, after that comes the other part. So what we'll see is they said that it definitely has one solution. This helps out our logic, so we don't have to worry about every edge case and stuff like that this time. But we can assume that they will give us a problem that has a solution. Okay. For now, let's take a look at some logic. We are going to solve this in two different ways. I would say if you did understand the question at this point, pause the video right here, think about it, try to solve, and then continue. Because from now onwards, you guys should definitely start putting in time into thinking and solving the problem, and then continuing the video, and then pausing again and doing the process again and again and again. Okay, definitely do that, please. But yeah, let's continue. So, of course, again, I would always ask you guys to, say ChatGPT like to explain the problem as well if you don't understand, right? So let's just go here. Let's just try that out this time actually, because I didn't try that out and showcase to you guys. But let's just close this and I'll be like, okay. So here we'll see LeetCode problems twosome, and over here I'll be like, can you explain what's happening in the problem without hinting or giving any solution? Right. You can ask this because you should not ask it to think for you, but you should ask it to just explain what's happening. Add some diagrams, maybe some examples too. right? See, it did all the example part. Of course, you should also be able to think of this, but if you don't get, that's fine. For now, just understand the problem, ask ChatGPT to give some examples, if you're stuck. I'm just saying if you're stuck, okay? But definitely do not look into the solution directly. That's not how you should do it. Try and give some time to yourself to improve, right? If you don't give time, learning is a slow process. So make sure to enjoy that, Otherwise, it's not going to be as valuable. But yeah, anyways, let's continue, shall we? Take a look at this, right? I'll just quickly just scroll down. You can take a look, read that as in the video. Just pause and read if you want. And yep, so there we go, almost done. Yep, perfect. So now let's go back and let's see, right? So let's continue with the, well, actually the logic we didn't discuss, right? Let's continue with the logic idea first. We'll be solving in two different ways. One is, I guess you can call it as a brute force algorithm. And the other one would be the hash map implementation. So let's start with the brute force, right? What we can do, right? Let's take any item in the array, 2, 7, 11, 50. Let's start with 2. Okay. You know what? Let's try the target as 17. Okay. Not 17. We'll take it as 26. Okay. The target is 26, which is 11 plus 15. But what's the algorithm? What's the logic behind reaching that level? Right. We'll do something like this. Okay. Take 2, the first item, check with 7. Does it add up to target? No. Check with, well, the next item, 2 plus 11. Does this add up to target, which is 13? No. This is 9 over here. Okay, check with the next item, which is 15. Does 17 add up to target? Of course not. So, well, we checked for 2 now. We can forget about 2 after this. We'll go to the next item, 7. Check with 11. Does this add up? No. Check with next item, 15. Does it add up? Of course not. Next, we'll go one more level. Go to 11 as the starting point now. Only 15 is remaining to check, right? What do you see now? 26. Boom. It does add up. So a simple algorithm, simple logic to do this essentially would be take an item, check whether the sum of the next items add up to the required target. What are we doing? Take an item, check whether combining any item with this item, that is A plus any of these as B. If A plus B is equal to target, then we are done. We can just return the index of A and B. If not, continue until you reach the end. But because there's only one solution, it definitely will give you a solution. Okay. Let's try and implement this now, guys. I would again ask you guys to pause at this point, right? If you did not understand the logic, again tell, I have a logic like this where I do this. Can you make me understand this logic a bit more, right? Okay. I definitely ask you guys to, maybe I can just showcase to you as well. You know what? Let me showcase to you. I'll be like, hey, I have a logic in mind where I take an item and check whether the next items in the array add up to the target and so on. Can you help me ideate it a bit more without giving any hints or any other logic? Very important. We're just trying to shape your idea into picture. That's all. Okay. Take one number, check each of the numbers that come after it, see if any pair adds up to target. So whatever we were thinking of is just putting into action a little bit more, right? I would definitely not ask you guys to use this for writing the code again, but I'm just showing you more of the AI aspects that comes into learning part, so that you understand that this is how you can do it, right? And that's the whole point of this course. Understand how to leverage ChatGPT or other AI tools to learn better. right? Next, let's quickly go to the next part, or rather the implementation part, and let's try to do something now. So the logic, as we mentioned, is go through every item, right? But we need the index. So I'll do for I in range of length of nums. What is length of nums? The list or the size of the array. That is nums. Okay. In that, I need every subsequent item. So for j in range of I plus 1 comma length of nums again. What do I have to do in that? If nums of I plus nums of j is equal to target, return I comma j. Otherwise, distribute return 0 comma 0, which will never happen because the problem says there'll always be a solution. So if you run this now, let's see what happens, shall we? Boom, right? We have the solution right here. It's literally just 5 lines of code, but I think you can just skip this as well because it'll never reach there. But maybe it's needed. I'm not. Okay, it's not needed. Okay, so it's just this much, right? And as you can see, this is all you need to write the logic for this. Understand what's happening here. Go through this, right? Maybe put some values to it and then see what happens. I would always advise you guys to do that. But yeah, quite simple, I would say. For I in range of length of nums. What does that mean? Okay, you know what? Let's go deep into it. What's happening here? For I in range of length of nums. Let's take the nums as our favorite numbers. That is 2, 7, 11, 15. Okay, not what you're thinking other than that, but yeah. So now if you see, right? What do you want to see? Well, length of nums. What is length of nums? It is 4. Why? Size of list is 4. So there are 4 items in the array or a list. Okay. Length of nums is 4. Now what we'll do? We'll say for I in range of 4. So what does this mean? Range of 4 is, actually I want to decrease the thickness of this. For I in range of 4, so I will be starting with 0, 1, 2, 3. First logic will go with I equal to 0. For I equal to 0, one more loop comes inside for j in range of I plus 1. So 1 comma 4. So this will give me j equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay. If j is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3 and I is equal to 0, what do they represent? What is nums of 0? First item, right? Which is 2. What is nums of 1? Nums of 2 and nums of 3 when j is different values. They're the second item, which is 7, 11 and 15, right? 2, 7, 11, 15, right? So we literally just wrote down the logic that we just discussed, where we take the first item, check with the next item, if not, check with the next item, if not, check with the next item. And if at any point it is equal, that is nums of I plus nums of j is equal, what do? We stop the code right there and say, this is your answer. That's what return statement does. If the values are equal at any point, we say return and we are good to go. We are done. That is all it is. Because it assumes that we have one solution no matter what, we can stop the code right here and we are good to go. But let's try submitting. Ideally, there should be a time complexity issue. I'll tell you why. If not, that's good only, but that's not the real solution. Well, that's good that it got accepted. But there is a better solution. And this time is very horrendous. I'll tell you why. Think about this, right? For every number, right? For every number, how many times are you checking the array? Let's take some values. 4. List item size is 4. So the first item will check 3 times, then 2 times, and then 1 time, right? This will add up to 6. Let's take a bigger number. 10. You'll check the first item with the remaining 9 items, so 9 checks. Second item with the remaining 8 items, so 8 checks, and so on. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is sum of n natural numbers, which is the formula that n into n plus 1 by 2. Which if you open up becomes n square plus n by 2. Which as we discussed, I believe in one of the previous episodes, ends up being O of n square, because that's the biggest term. For n equal to 10 power 10, n square becomes 10 power insane values, right? Versus n, which is just 10 power 10. So the biggest factor for time is n square. That is why our time complexity is n square, O of n square. Okay? That is our time complexity. Space complexity, on the other hand, we are not using any extra space other than the already given nums array. So we are using no extra space, hence it is O of 1. So space wise, very good. Time wise, not acceptable. That is the issue with this logic. That is the brute force logic. Okay? Understand what's happening here? Okay? If you don't, of course, take the code that you wrote, put it right here, explain time complexity and space complexity analysis. And if you want me to explain better, I can. Just let me know in the comment section, okay? But whichever you guys prefer, right? Like, I'm just telling in a general sense, because everyone likes their own flavor of teaching, and I just want you guys to learn to become people who are able to learn and keep evolving even after this course. That's the whole goal of this course. I don't want you guys to just always be reliant on someone. I want you guys to be able to teach and learn by yourself, essentially speaking. So that's the whole point of this course, right? I want everyone to just be able to keep upskilling themselves infinitely. So let's aim towards that, and that's what I'm trying. That's why I'm going to ChatGPT every time, because I want you guys to learn how I learn sometimes, right? Of course, sometimes I just read the books, various books. Sometimes I just read, various kinds of YouTube videos. Take a look at, of course, even Udemy courses, Coursera courses, and sometimes I use ChatGPT. But these are all different ways of learning. And based on what you feel like doing at that moment, do it. That's all I would say. There's nothing good or bad. You can see it tells you the exact analysis and things like that. But yeah, that is how it is for the first brute force algorithm. Next, we'll take a look at the second one, which is hash maps. Or in our case, dictionaries. Or I guess we can use set as well. Set. We'll use set, okay? So let's see. What do we do? Okay. Now, let's take the array 2, 7, 11, 15, and I'll still go for checking for 26 because that's the last one in the possibility. So what we'll do, okay? We'll go number by number. That is, we'll go 2 ones, 7 ones, 11 ones, and 15 ones. But this time, every time we go to a number, tell me if my number 2 needs to add up to the target, that is 26, right? What is the number I need to add to it? 2 plus 24 is equal to 26, right? So all I need to check is whether 24 exists in this array. But the problem in that is checking whether an item exists in an array. Of course, searching, right? The fastest is binary search, which is login, right? Which is still going to make us take some time. That's what we're going to do from now on is check every item. Okay, understand properly. Check every item. Check whether its required item to become the target is present in our set, which is a special place where accessing whether item is present or not is instant. That is, I know instantly, boom, oh, this item is there, or this item is not there, instantly. Okay. So what we'll do now, right? Use a set, store the item as we go through it. That is, when we go to 2, we'll see whether 24 exists in our set At this point, it's an empty set, so it does not exist. So nothing happens at this point. But what does happen? Actually, my bad. We can't use a set. We need to use a dictionary because we need the index. We can technically use, but I'm going to be using dictionary. So dictionary. Okay. So what we'll do is at this point it's an empty dictionary. So 24 does not exist. Fine. Chalta hai. We'll go to next. But at this point we'll add 2 to the dictionary. So at this point it will become 2:0. So the key is 2. But what's the value? The index where that item exists. Okay. Why we did that, we'll see later on. But when we go to 7, what's the number required to make it? Well, 26, 19. Does 19 exist in our dictionary? No. That's fine. That means this is not the answer. So we'll say the new dictionary at this point, after we do the check, becomes 2:0, 7:1. Okay, you see what we're doing here? As we go through one by one, just one by one, we are adding an item to the dictionary. Now we'll see 11. 11 requires 15. At this point though, 15 exists in our array, but does it exist in our dictionary? No, it does not. So what we'll do? We'll say, okay, sure, no worries. That's not the solution then. And I said 2:0, 7:1, and 11:2. Okay. Okay. Now what we'll do? We are in 15 now, right? 15 requires 11 to become 26. Does 11 exist in our dictionary? Oh yes, it does. That's good news. That means this is our solution. So what will we return? 11 ka value, so 2, 15 ka index, 3. Done. This is the logic. The reason I told with the example is because I think it's going to be otherwise a more tedious thing to understand. So let's just go back into it. What's happening? Understand properly. And let's see. Okay. Go through the items one by one. Find the required, value to become the target with this item. So for 2 it is 24, for 7 it is 19, 11 plus 15 is 26, and 15 plus 11 is 26. Right? Go to the item one by one. Find the required value for it to reach the target. And if that value is present in our dictionary, that's the solution. If it's not, add the initial number to the dictionary with the index. Okay? Okay. I hope what I said and what I showed is kind of clear. If you don't understand dictionaries, if you don't understand lists, I advise you guys to brush up on the basics a bit more. If you guys want, I can do a separate video on that. Just let me know down in the comment section. Okay. But yeah, let's go back to the implementation of it. Okay. So if you see here, let's reset this. And shall we try something? So I'll be like hashmap, because I like calling it hashmap. And then I'm going to say for I in range of length of nums. Okay. Length of nums. If numSci in hashmap, instant access, I know instantly that it exists or not, does not exist. Okay. If it is present, well, return I, hashmap of, I should not check for numSci, I should check for the required value, that is target minus numSci. Because we need to know 26 minus 2, right? We don't search for 2. We search for 26 minus 2 in the logic, remember? So we need to know that value exists in hashmap or not. So if value exists in hashmap, then I, hashmap of value. If not, what should we do? We will add that item to the hashmap of nums of I is equal to I. That's it. Let's run this logic. Right? Submit this logic. And boom, you can see a very fast logic. Very simple to write even now, not too complex. Definitely more lines than the previous one, but still way faster, right? Way faster. So I ask you guys to understand what's happening here. Very important to understand these basic concepts. I'm doing the easy problems first so that you understand the basic concepts one by one, and then we can go to the more complex topics, right? So understand what's happening here. Give some time to it. Make sure to enjoy what your learning process as well. But that is pretty much it. You guys can always go back to ChatGPT, ask it questions, keep learning, keep reinforcing what you have learned. Don't be like, oh, I already know this, I'm done. I have done this problem maybe 10, 20 times till now. Who knows, right? But it doesn't hurt to, reinforce your learning every time. So make sure to give time to yourself. Make sure to learn properly. And that's pretty much it. Thanks, everyone. Hope to see you in the next episode of DSA XAI.